Robert Kiyosaki is back with us. He's author of Why the Rich Are Getting Richer. Robert, this is a question that has rocked political campaigns for decades. What is the answer? Well, debt in taxes, for young men like you, will be a largest single expense, you say. But for a rich person with financial education, debt in taxes will be a largest source of income. It's so opposite, but it teaches you. So that's why I wrote Why the Rich Are Getting Richer, because it's really not fair. You'll work very hard and debt and taxes will eat your life. And a guy like me, because that I reach that, and like President Trump, debt taxes make us richer. It's opposite. So how do I get to your end of the spectrum? Is it largely through investing in real estate? Well, first of all, it's an education. There is many ways you can do it. I primarily do it what I call the McDonald's formula. If you know, there is a movie Founder with Michael Keaton. He said, McDonald's business is real estate. It's not hamburgers, it's real estate. And so my business, the Rich Dad Company, is real estate. And that's where I use debt and I use taxes to acquire a large stuff. Large tracts of real estate that pay no taxes. Legally. It's very interesting discussion, as the government looks to put for tax reform. I mean, what are people getting wrong when it comes to taxes? Just not knowing the loopholes out there. Correct. If you're a hard-working employee, or a doctor, or an attorney, you will pay the highest taxes. But for the professional investor, like I'm an entrepreneur and I create investments, I pay no taxes. So as long as that's why I'm Rich Dad Poor Dad. Lesson number 1 was the rich don't work for money. Because the moment you work for money, you're taxed. And so there's this tax reform, it's a good idea. But for a young guy like you, it's best to learn early. Why guys like me use debt taxes to get rich, whereas debt taxes will eat you alive. Now, you know, many people think, oh, I'll just start my own business and that's how I'll move up the economic scale. But in the book you say that may not be the best idea. Explain. Well, again, it goes back to what is your level of financial education. We're taught to be employees, not entrepreneurs. Go to school, get a job. Not go to school and create jobs. And the mindset between a person who creates jobs and a person who looks for a job are opposite. It's like, two sides of a coin. So that's why, both the president, I know it's not the most popular guy among a lot of younger guys, but he's a good man. You wrote a book with him. Yeah, 2 books now. He's a good man, but we're concerned about financial education. So he and I are entrepreneurs. We have thousands of employees. Lots of real estate. And because we do that, the IRS gives us tax breaks. Because we use debt. Because the government wants us to borrow money, which is why interest rates are so low. And because we borrow, create jobs and buy real estate, we pay no taxes. Legally. Well, you mentioned low interest rates, and what did you also say saving is for losers? Explain that tagline, because I think it runs contrary to what a lot of people have been taught. Thank you for saying that. For years I've caught hell, as you know, because I kept saying savers are losers, and you saw interest rates. When I was your age, interest rates were 15%. Now in Japan and Switzerland, they're sub-zero. Why would you save money? It makes no sense. Well, some people will save money, but the whole economic system, which we're part of right now, wants debtors. They don't want savers. So we have too much money in the system. So because they have too much cash in the system, they punish the saver and reward the debtor with low interest rates and no taxes. So what's the other solution then to that? I mean, should I put the money into the stock market? Should I take on debt and invest that money in the stock market? Well, as you know, you guys are so lucky being your age. So, we're in the information age. The problem is our school systems still in the Stone Age, and they don't provide you the knowledge to process information. So, like, when you say you go to school to get a job, it doesn't make sense to me because you'll be taxed. And so really, we're the knowledge age and information. So the most important investment is your financial education, which is not taught in school. And so that's why some bright young people like you come out, the student loan debt up to here. They're looking for this mystical high-paying job. And they live with their mom and dad. So your number one tip for young people would be, well, I would seek informational education before I call real teachers. Because when I was in school, most of them were fake. You know what I mean? They really didn't know what they were talking about, like my accounting teacher. I'm an MBA program. I knew more about accounting than he did because the poor guy never left school. He was like my poor dad, my school teacher. A real-world experience. Yeah, really. Yeah, surprising. I went to flight school. I flew for the Marine Corps. I had to have real teachers, you know. You don't want some guy who's never flown before, or just flew a little Piper Cub to teach me to fly in combat. I need real teachers. So as young people, I always say to them, choose your teachers wisely. Make sure they are real. Make sure they know what they're talking about. They're not just people just working for the paycheck. You know, like most financial planners are good guys, but they're not rich people. Why would you take advice from them? And Robert, before we let you go, what is your advice for women and investing? What kind of mistakes do women make when it comes to investing? The biggest, you should talk to my wife Kim. She's beautiful on the outside, beautiful on the inside. But she says this to all women. Women, you and I know that when it comes to money, women are smarter than men. That's from my wife. Alright, Robert Kiyosaki, thank you so much for joining us. Dear friends, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Let's grow together.